Tonight, as you have probably heard by now, Maine will be seeing a total eclipse of the sun on April 8th. It's the first one in 60 years, the last one for another 70 years or so, depending on where you live.
A lot of people will be coming to see it. That potentially means big crowds in some small towns. 207's Don Kerrigan went to Jackman, where people have been getting ready to welcome the eclipse watchers.
Yes, while you were in the tropics, we went up to Jackman where last week it was still winter, and now it's still winter every place. You know, there's been a lot of attention paid to Aroostook County and Holton in particular for watching the eclipse, but Jackman is also getting ready for it because based on the experience in other parts of the country, they have found that a lot of people are likely to come to town. You don't go to Jackman by chance. It's one of the most remote towns in Maine, as close to Quebec City as to Augusta. But there is a good chance a lot of people will be making this trip because of the eclipse.
You look at the map, the line of totality is right over us. We are dead center. As somebody from the Chamber of Commerce said, we are ground zero for the eclipse.
Bill Jarvis is fire chief and EMS director for Jackman and has been planning for the event for more than 3 years. The eclipse will sweep across western and northern Maine. The path of totality, where people will experience full darkness, includes places like Dover-Foxcroft, Millinocket, and Holton, all easier for most people to reach than Jackman. So, why all the excitement here?
We're also right on the center line. We have the longest period of totality because as the shadow moves across the country, heading towards the east, it picks up speed. So as you go east, it's shorter totality.
Jarvis says a lot of Mainers already know Jackman because they've been here fishing, hunting, or snowmobiling. But there's also been publicity, like the Old Farmer's Almanac.
It lists multiple places across the path of the total solar eclipse, such as, Dallas, Texas, and Niagara Falls, places like that. And there's only one listed in Maine, Jackman, Maine.
Local hotels and inns like Bishop's Motel started booking up well over a year ago.
Phones are still ringing. We're turning people away daily, pretty much.
Owner Rick Gord says rooms and rentals in the area are all taken.
I think the whole town's booked, and all the way down to Greenville, the Forks, and what have you, every direction.
Let's put it this way. I've been telling people, I don't know how many people are coming.
And for Jarvis and Somerset County Emergency Management Director Mike Smith, that is the key question.
So we expect more people to be in town than the busiest snowmobile or 4th of July weekend we've ever had. And that is before people start driving up on Monday morning, the day of the eclipse.
This whole area only has about 1,100 residents. So if that swells to 5,000 over the weekend, what about April 8th itself?
That's where I see there to be the biggest issue. I mean, I would roughly guess you might see 400 or 500 cars a day come up 201, from Skowhegan coming up through, and, multiply that by 10, and that's what we're going to look at that day.
Route 201 is the primary road into Jackman, straight up about 80 miles from I-95 through Skowhegan and smaller towns. They've been planning for extra police and rescue, for extra ambulances and medical staff, and for traffic delays.
I have as much a concern, actually more of a concern, with the evening traffic flow, because the eclipse is over at 3:45 or whatever time it is, and I view 5,000 to 10,000 people in this town looking to head south and hit Skowhegan all at one time.
That wouldn't be good.
No.
And in Jackman itself, there are other issues that come with crowds.
Big events that draw a lot of people is what we have called the 3 T's: toilets, trash, traffic.
He thinks they have the first two covered and are prepared for all three. But there is also a big positive piece for local businesses like the Smoke and Barrel restaurant.
We're predicting that it's going to be really busy just by the amount of phone calls that we're getting.
Megan Calkin reminded us it's been a poor winter for snowmobiling, meaning local businesses have suffered. So they need the boost eclipse crowds could bring.
We are staying open straight through, even on our days that we would normally take off. So normally we take Sundays and Mondays off, and we're going to stay open so that there's somewhere for everyone to go, hopefully, and that we can, benefit a little bit from it.
But even so, what about food for all those thousands of visitors?
The Jackman Town office will be the emergency operations center for the day, and part of planning involves feeding all those thousands of people expected to come in. There are not enough restaurants and food stores to take care of all of them, so part of the plan is to stage food trucks right here, so somehow there can be enough for everybody to eat.
It's just one of dozens of pieces of the plan Bill Jarvis and others have put together. He thinks they'll be ready.
I'd rather the headline the following day said, Route 201 corridor communities were overprepared for public safety than for the headline to say the next day it was utter chaos.
Now it will be a question of weather, travel choices, and how all the rest of us handle our own planning. And so the folks up there in Jackman have some advice for the rest of us when it comes to that, which is come prepared. Have food, have water with you in the car, snacks, water, all of that sort of thing, so that if you can't get to a restaurant or a food truck, you don't go without. Make sure your car's gas tank is full before you get there. They've got 2 places in town to get gas, and if there are 5,000 or more people that descend on Jackman, why? It's going to be hard to do all that sort of stuff. So be prepared, they said, is what the advice to everybody. Bring your eclipse glasses. Have you tried those?
You have to have the special glasses. You can't just use generic sunglasses. You can't just grab your sunglasses.
Have you tried those?
I have not.
He's ready.
I'm ready.
He's ready for the eclipse.
Don't wear them for driving.
They're blocking out our studio lights, I can tell
Because
you
you
that.
can't see anything through them. So anyway, have your eclipse glasses. When I was 12 years old, I was at summer camp, and we went through the last total eclipse in Maine, which I vividly remember.
Yeah.
We were all put into a building so we didn't burn our eyes out and watched it get dark.
I can remember back then it was you had to get a shoebox and put a pinhole in it and put camera film, and it was elaborate, and I don't even know if it worked all that well, but I guess it did.
And we've got April weather to wonder about.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Let's just hope that portable toilet situation is well taken care of.
Yes,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Tougher to bring your own.
Well put.
And
Thank you, Don.
By the way, on Monday, April 8th, News Center Maine will have special coverage of the eclipse.
That coverage is going to be going on all day, including a special broadcast that starts at 2 o'clock in the afternoon with our teams in Holton as well as Jackman. For more information on the eclipse and to get other eclipse-related stories, you can text 207-828-6622.
All righty, coming up next on